Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Bishops of the Bay. I'm excited to be on with always my friend, my brother, my partner, the one and only
Bishop K.D. Barnes. That's right, man. It's good to see you again, man.
Good to see you, Doc. Good to see you. It's a joy always to be here with you, man, and to have
boy, I tell you, man, I'm finished. I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. I'm excited.
Where we gonna be at?
Well, we're gonna be on YouTube. We're gonna be on Instagram. We're gonna be on what else? TikTok. We're gonna get on TikTok. We're going to be on all of it, you know what I mean? Because God is doing a new thing, even with the Bishops of the Bay. I'm excited
about that.
I really am.
Whenever my mind, and thank God for coming in, when I was thinking about this Isaiah passage, man, and thinking about, and I mentioned about the biblical prophecy of Christ coming,
right,
fulfilling the prophecy being the Savior of the world. But I think about when you look at that passage in light of where we are now as a church, you know, Israel as a people then, but where we are now as a body of Christ,
right,
as the unified church, man, and not being able to get back into your building, not being able to fellowship and hug, and I know Ab, like I know Word, in that dog, we loving people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, social distancing in service just don't work for us.
It's just not.
And ain't no sense of us trying to lie and tell folk, you know, it's amazing because having church the way we've had church and to comply with the orders that have been given is impossible. And so, you know, I've heard people say, well, we're going to come back and social distance, and that'll just be a challenge for us. That'll just be a challenge.
Yeah, that would be a real good.
I know for me, because I'm going to want to hug people.
Well, I always do it. You know, a lot of times I stand at the back of the door, man, and when we stand at the back of the door, because we're very loving, very caring shepherd, you know what I mean? And to hug the people and let them know, you know what I mean, that they love it. Because sometimes, man, you think about it, some people haven't got a hug all week. Some people haven't had nobody to say that I love you. You know, and I think that that's one of the things that we have to not minimize, but magnify. So for us to go back, it's gonna for us to go back right now would be really hard because I know our people. They're gonna want to hug their pastor. You know, I'm gonna hug them as well.
And it's almost like when you talk about the excitement with the social media aspect,
right? That
it's now, and I try to live by this, especially during this season, man. And that is not letting what you can't do stop you from doing what you can.
Absolutely.
And this issue of social media and all of the outlets that the Bishop of the Bay is coming to are just avenues that we can connect with the people of God.
Right.
People of God can connect with us. So there are going to be a lot of things that we're going to do. And we are just grateful to God for the opportunity to come on all of those outlets.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Those of y'all who hear us on 1190, and then others, because when we went on Facebook Live, we've got an audience there. So
absolutely,
just really excited about that because it's another avenue, man, to reach the people. Yeah. And I think that's good news.
Yeah, because and especially like you said, that even in Isaiah when we were talking about it, you know what I mean? Because God is doing a new thing. And watch this. Sometimes God has to force us to do new stuff. Mm-hmm. And right now, we're in that right now because, you know, like on the show we talked about a little earlier, we talked about the fact that we weren't really ready. We're getting ready in terms of this. And I think that, again, we're doing a great job. But it kind of forces. Right now, you got to have a social media outlet. You have to have it. You know, or you... you know, just wait. What are you going to do? Wait till we go back into the building? And who knows when that's going to happen?
I heard one preacher say, if you're not online, you dying in line.
Dying in line. That's a pretty good gesture right there. Because man, right now we are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, on Instagram, and I'm so excited about the fact that the Bishop of the Bay, we're going to be brought out, man, because God is doing some new stuff for us.
You know, when they hear stuff like this coming from two preachers and not rushing to go back to open the buildings, you hear people say stuff like, well, the supermarket open.
Yeah.
Say the restaurant's open.
Yeah.
Or the movie theaters are open. All of those things. If those things are open, then the church should be too. And whenever I hear that, my heart saddens, because for those of us who are followers of Jesus, to really feel that a building is indicative of the church being open or closed is just disheartening, because it means we haven't searched the scriptures to realize that the church is not the building.
Right. Absolutely.
It's the people. And for me and for yourself and guys who have this stance, men and women, what we're saying, it's not the law that's making us wait.
Right.
It's love.
That's what's making us wait. Exactly.
Right? And it's what Jesus requires us to do. Here's the thing, man, that we got to pay attention to when we look at this new, this self-centered mindset of Christianity, where it's just about, we got to realize, man, that Jesus was always about looking out for people.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
Right?
Always.
And it would be different if the building was the only way we had to reach people.
Right. You remember you and I talked about it, man, before, and what we talked about, the fact, on the back of the wall at our church, it says, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel." Well, what we were doing really inside by not allowing ourselves to reach outside that like we should have done. We were almost like we was in an aquarium. You know, an aquarium, just inside, having your good church, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that God now is telling us and sharing with us that it is time now to really go ye into all the world. Because when you're on the Facebook, and we're on this Facebook and the YouTube and everything else, man, we don't know who's going to see it in the world, not just locally. And I think that He's taking our ministry, all of our ministries, those that are involved in the Facebook and things like that, from a local to a worldwide, which He told us to do at the beginning. So now, you know, and not necessarily in a building, you know what I'm saying, but on the outside of our building, you know what I mean? And so I'm excited. I'm excited about the new challenge, man. I really am.
When we talk about this new thing, this new thing that God is doing, we have to cover the fact that the new thing does not change the message.
Right.
But it does change the method. Doesn't change the agenda, but it does change the approach. And I say that because what I've discovered about the church in this season, and the church as I've known it, I've discovered, man, that we confuse our tradition with His truth.
Wow.
Just because there are things that are dear to us, and they are dear to us for good reasons.
Sure.
And we can't do them. That does not mean His truth is still not being applied.
Right, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
That's totally true.
Where the problem comes a lot of times is that love, and it goes back to conversations we've had over the years. Whenever we got ready to make a major decision, whether this question made us feel uncomfortable, it was always one that we asked. And that is, what's your motive?
Why are you doing what you're doing?
Why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
And if not utilizing or minimizing or lessening social media and the other outlets that are out there, and saying that we have to get back into a building, if the motivation, and I can't even see what the motivation could be. If there was no, I could see that being a motivation if there was no other way for us to connect with people.
Right, you had to. Then it was you had no other choice.
You had no other choice.
Right, but you got a choice.
But what you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not to say that it does not help us socially and psychologically, but there are ways to do that. Discipleship can happen still through Zoom classes.
All of it.
All
of it.
So I would say to that pastor, because things are not opening back up, right? And you have the science who's saying, you know, we still gonna have to deal with issues of COVID and the flu season and all that kind of stuff coming.
Right.
Then you have those who are saying, well, you know, it's our constitutional right. We got to go back in the building, and we're not going to stay out. And all of that stuff comes on. And I think what satisfies it all is when we're able to say, what would Jesus require us to do?
Right. And that takes on to, what is your motive? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it for finance? Remember you talked about that? Is it for influence? Is it, what's the reason behind the fact that you want to have people in a building? Let me tell you something that helped me, man. I am so thankful that we didn't go back into our building. One of the ladies of our church, she wanted to get back into the building. Oh, I can't wait till we get back into the building. Well, guess what? Lo and behold, she caught the COVID. We wasn't back in the church. She caught the COVID. You know what I'm saying? So now, when she caught it, she told me, I talked to her on the phone, man, and she told me, she said, Bishop, this thing ain't no joke. That was her exact word. She said, Bishop, this thing ain't no joke. And what I'm saying is that I'm so glad that I was listening to what God was saying rather than listening to what this girl was saying. In other words, because of the fact that what she was trying to say is that we need to get back together and not thinking that this was real and to discover that it was real. You follow what I'm saying? And so going back, man, right now, I don't know if we're going to go back to the building this year. I have no idea. And if we
that's
don't,
the reality.
right? And if we don't, it's okay. It's okay because we are connected in so many different ways. And I think that what this COVID has done, man, it has caused us. I preached a sermon just yesterday about the fact of God got this, and I talked about in there from Psalms 46 verse number 1, where He told us. He says, not number 1, verse 10. He says to be still. You know what I mean? And a lot of time, what God is teaching us through this season, Bishop, is that He's teaching us that. Be still. I got this. I'm doing this. And then when he talked about that word still, it means to sink. It means to relax. It means to sink down like you're sinking into a comfortable chair. And so what God is saying that in this season, with all of this pandemic, with all of these things that are happening, we need to learn how to be still and get to know God even better, man.
And it's crazy because when you think about having that kind of opportunity, then the question comes, is going back going forward?
That's the next question. You're right.
You follow what I'm saying?
And
that was a discussion I was having the other day with you were on a call with Bishop Jones.
Yes.
And the whole issue is for me to deny that God is moving 80,000 people thus far. It is projected by way of survey that's been done that 80,000 people, I think in America, I want to say America, maybe nationwide, I'm worldwide, have come to know Jesus Christ.
Come on, man.
In these recent months.
Come on, man. Come on.
Because there is now so much accessibility to the message of Jesus Christ. So for me to deny that God is moving online, right? For me to deny that God, I think goes to what you said. It speaks to so now I got to add a different eye. It's not only income that motivates folk to go back to church. It's not only influence. It's not only identity, but sometimes it's just impatient.
Wow, being impatient. Oh, wow.
Just be
still. I got you.
That's big.
Yeah.
When you think about
still.
that.
Yes, absolutely.
You mean to tell me.
Absolutely.
For what? March, April, May, June, July, August?
August, all of them, yeah. 5 months, 6 months of them.
6 months. When let's say it carries to the rest of the year, that those months away from a building can lessen your relationship with God.
Wow.
Then the question comes, you weren't building a relationship. You just got comfortable with religion.
Oh, and there's a big difference between religion and relationship.
Come on, you said it. If being in this season is going to draw me closer to God,
exactly.
Then maybe God is doing, not maybe.
Yeah.
God is doing that new thing that we had been praying about.
Yes.
We've been asking Him about.
Yes. And then I think, too, what God is doing in this season, and not only talk about the fact that be still, because in that text it also says, and know that I am God. You know what I mean? Stop trying to be God yourself.
Ooh.
You follow what I'm saying?
Now, bro, you can say something there.
You know, stop trying. And that's what happens.
Yes,
a lot of times people trying to be God. And God said, wait a minute.
That's my job.
Let me be God.
I don't need your help.
I don't need your help to be God. You know what I'm saying? And we was talking about on that line the other day too, man. I was so blessed by being on there with Bishop Noel Jones, was the fact that he says that what has happened a lot of time is that people are into acquisition. Rather than depositing in people. You follow what I'm saying? Acquisition means that what's in it for me.
Yes.
But when you deposit, it's what's in it for other people. And you said it just earlier that Jesus was interested in the people. You follow what I'm saying? Not the acquirement, because when you check out his record, he didn't have nothing.
And it doesn't mean that facilities are not needed.
Right, absolutely.
We living in a world where buildings have to be occupied. That's why you ain't living in a tent. Right. So, you know, so people say, well, man, you going to church, you not going to church, that means you don't trust God. I trust God at my house.
Trust God.
But I still lock my door.
Come on, man. Not only that, man, I turned on my alarm.
Right? So you got, it's
Absolutely.
a wonderful time to embrace this thing and to just, as Steve Harvey would say, jump, you know, and see what God is going to do. Many of you all who are listening to us, we're talking primarily about the church attendance, but in your own life personally.
Absolutely.
God is stretching you to do some new things in some new ways. And listen, if God thinks enough of you to deposit that vision in your spirit, if God thinks enough of you to give you that idea, think enough of yourself to make sure that you seize that moment, because if God thinks enough in you, then you ought to think enough in yourself.
Absolutely. I just wrote a note to you, man.
I can't understand that.
You can't understand English?
But don't look like you wrote in tongues.
Look at the thing. See, there you go. It says back to.
Oh, okay.
You understand that now?
Go back to what? The show?
Yeah. No. Back. Anyway, listen, y'all gonna be able to catch us on YouTube. We're gonna be on Facebook. Get it now? Instagram, Twitter,
of the Bay.
TikTok. We're gonna be on TikTok. Are we gonna be on TikTok?
OTB.
Yes, yes, sir. So we're excited about it.
We are excited about that.
Yeah, but that's true, man.
This new thing, man, and all of that comes into all of that comes under the guidelines of this new thing. Yeah. This new show here we got on 1190. And just excited about here, and then the new things that are happening by way of the social media. I'm just excited about that. KB, can you tell us where they can find you?
You can find me on email, Bishop KD Barnes.
5 minutes left.
Well, you got 5 minutes. What I'm just trying to tell you. Why don't you listen for a minute? See, the problem is you ain't listening to me, and I'm talking. But anyway, let me go, all right? You can find me at Abyssinia Baptist Church. The address is 528 33rd Street, but don't go there right now and read that. But you can find us on Bishop Kevin Barnes on Facebook, and then YouTube. So we got a lot of stuff. Just go to it. You check it all out. We got some great stuff going on. Where can they find you? Give me this big litany of lists or whatever.
Look out for, stay tuned for the Bishops of the Bay.
Yes, sir.
All of the social media outlets. We're going to be there. You want to know some things about Word? Go to WORDAFC.org, and you can find all our information there. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited that you tuned in.
Absolutely.
Listen, Brother Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Hear me and KB.
Yes.
God's got you, and He's got the people.
That's right.
Trust Him, man.
Stop worrying your nerves. Stop being worried and scratching your head and all that. Sit back, relax, and know that God is God. You know what I mean?
Yes, He is, Doc.
You know
He's going to see us through it. And then you know what? The other thing too, KB, we say this in closing. You know what it is teaching us, bro?
What's teaching?
That's His church.
It's His. And guess what? He said He let us know that it was His all along. But we get it mistaken. We have gotten it mistaken that we take it down.
Church, buddy.
Yeah, He got it. And He going to take care of His church.
Yes, sir.
So we just going to be quiet on there or what? Why you saying that? You just sit there quiet.
You got part of the show.
Part of the show, but okay. I don't know. You cut that out, okay? God bless y'all so much, all right? Thank you. Praise
Do me a
God.
favor. Can you guys both look into this camera and say, just to the camera, without the headphones in. Just say.
Look, you
Just go.
and say what?
Just say. Coming to social media soon. Look for us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. What?
Yeah. Well, we coming to Facebook. That's right. The Bishops of the Bay.
You don't want to miss it.
Hold on one second. Okay. Again.
We coming to Facebook. That's right. We are coming to Facebook. And what else?
Why did you holler?
I like to holler.
But you ain't got to holler.
But I ain't got to holler because you don't think I don't holler. I'm tuned to that already. That's why I like to
Can you
holler.
just do it over again? Just you holler, though, Doc.
But I like to holler.
Bishops of the Bay is a production of Black Woman Owned, Clari-T Media.